Marcus Sterling tapped his immaculate fingernails against the gleaming walnut surface of the conference table, his piercing silver eyes studying the financial projections illuminated on the massive wall display. The executive boardroom atop Sterling Financial Tower commanded a breathtaking view of Manhattan's skyline, yet he hadn't spared it even a fleeting glance throughout the morning's proceedings. At 45, Marcus had transformed Sterling Financial from a modest startup into a multi-billion-dollar powerhouse, and today's session would determine whether they'd acquire their most formidable rival to date. As these figures clearly demonstrate, colleagues, he declared, his authoritative voice capturing the complete attention of the 14 executives assembled before him. This strategic acquisition will position us to control the entire Northeast financial market before year's end. His bespoke Italian suit couldn't mask the rigidity in his frame. This transaction had dominated his thoughts for countless months. Harrison Blake, his distinguished silver-haired chief financial officer and dearest friend, expressed his approval with an appreciative nod. The board members shared meaningful glances of admiration. The mahogany doors at the room's opposite end remained securely sealed, protected by Marcus's executive aide Patricia, who had received explicit instructions, no disruptions, no exceptions whatsoever, which made every head pivot in astonishment when those very doors suddenly flew open with dramatic force. "I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Sterling," Patricia exclaimed, rushing after a diminutive figure who had somehow evaded her vigilance. Marcus froze mid-presentation as a small girl, appearing no older than 5, marched with unwavering determination toward the conference table. Her faded denim coveralls and worn canvas shoes created a stark juxtaposition against the room's luxurious appointments. Her auburn hair was secured in slightly uneven pigtails, and her expression radiated the kind of resolve that halted Marcus's intended reproach before it could form. "Young lady," he began instead, his tone naturally softening despite himself. "This is a confidential business meeting. How did you manage to reach this floor?" The little girl completely disregarded his question. She positioned herself directly opposite him, her chin barely clearing the table's polished edge. Her brilliant emerald eyes locked onto his with an intensity that sent an inexplicable tremor down his spine. "What's your hourly salary?" she inquired, her voice crystal clear and unwavering. A profound silence descended upon the room. Harrison coughed awkwardly. One of the younger executives failed to contain a nervous chuckle. "I beg your pardon?" Marcus asked, convinced he'd misunderstood. "How much money do you earn every hour?" the girl repeated with greater insistence. Something about her unwavering gaze compelled Marcus to engage with her question. "Well, that's rather complex," he responded, his mouth curving into an amused expression. "But let's estimate $100. The figure was laughably modest. His actual hourly earnings reached into the thousands, but it seemed an appropriate simplification for a child's understanding. The girl's face brightened with excitement. She reached into her overall pocket and extracted a small, weathered Hello Kitty wallet. With meticulous care, she removed a crumpled $10 bill and placed it deliberately on the table. "I've been saving this for 3 months," she explained earnestly, sliding the money toward him. "And Mrs. Rodriguez from next door gave me $90 for helping with her garden all spring." She placed a neat collection of bills beside her $10 contribution. "That equals $100. I'd like to purchase 1 hour of your time, please." Marcus stared at the money, then returned his gaze to the girl's earnest expression, his bewildered amusement transforming into genuine curiosity. "And why would you want to do that, young lady?" Her next words struck him like a devastating physical blow. "Because you're my father," she stated simply, her voice resonating through the suddenly airless chamber. "And today is Father's Day." Marcus's entire world tilted off its axis. The boardroom, the executives, the acquisition, everything dissolved into a distant haze. There existed only this small girl with her impossible declaration, and the money she'd saved to purchase what most children took for granted: an hour with their father. "What's your name?" he asked, his voice barely audible. "Sophia," she replied. "Sophia Martinez. My mother is Isabella Martinez. She used to work for you before I was born." Isabella Martinez. The name crashed through Marcus's memory like a devastating wrecking ball. 5, nearly 6 years ago. His executive assistant before Patricia, the woman who had departed so abruptly without explanation. "Mr. Sterling." Harrison's concerned voice seemed to echo from miles away. Should we postpone this meeting? Marcus couldn't tear his eyes from Sophia's face, from the shape of her nose, the determined set of her jaw, features he recognized from his own mirror each morning. "Locate Isabella Martinez," he managed to say, as security personnel finally appeared at the doorway. Immediately, Sophia never broke eye contact, even as the adults around them scrambled in confusion. "So," she asked, pushing the money closer, "do we have an agreement?" If this extraordinary tale of unexpected fatherhood and life-changing choices has touched your heart, please show your support by subscribing to Echoes of Heart. Your engagement helps us share more stories of transformation, love, and the moments that change everything forever. Marcus sat alone in his private office, the boardroom now empty except for Sophia, who was carefully examining his collection of achievement awards displayed on the bookshelf. He had dismissed the executives with a brief explanation about a family emergency, words that felt foreign on his tongue. Harrison had given him a concerned look before closing the door, leaving Marcus to confront the impossible situation before him. "You resemble the man in Mama's photograph," Sophia observed, pointing to his face with a small finger. "She keeps it in her special memory box." Marcus swallowed hard. "Sophia, where is your mother now? How did you arrive here?" The little girl turned to face him, her expression suddenly becoming serious. "Mama's at the hospital. Mrs. Rodriguez was supposed to watch me, but she fell asleep." Sophia's voice dropped to a whisper. "I found your building's address in Mama's papers. The bus driver helped me because I told him I was meeting my father." A cold knot formed in Marcus's stomach. "The hospital? What's wrong with your mother?" "She's sick frequently," Sophia said with the matter-of-fact acceptance children sometimes displayed regarding terrible circumstances. "The doctors are trying to help her feel better today." Marcus reached for his phone, but Patricia was already at the door. "Mr. Sterling, I located Isabella Martinez. She's at Mount Sinai Medical Center Oncology Department. She's been attempting to reach Sophia. Apparently, the neighbor watching her had a medical emergency herself." Patricia's voice softened. "The hospital reports that Ms. Martinez is in critical condition." The words struck Marcus like physical blows. Oncology. Critical condition. The controlled, compartmentalized existence he'd constructed was crumbling with each revelation. "Have my car prepared," he ordered, his voice rougher than intended. Sophia was watching him with those penetrating emerald eyes that seemed to see straight through him. "Are you going to visit Mama?" "Can I come too?" She held up the stack of bills. "I still have our deal. 1 hour." Marcus looked at the money, the child's life savings, and whatever she'd earned working in gardens, and felt something fracture inside him. He walked over and knelt to her level, gently pushing the money back toward her. "Keep it," he said quietly, "and yes, we're going to see your mother." In the elevator descending to the parking garage, Sophia slipped her small hand into his. The gesture, simple and trusting, sent a jolt through him more powerful than any business transaction ever had. "Mama says you're very busy," she said. "That's why you never visited." Marcus looked down at her, this child who bore his features and called him father, and felt the weight of 5 years of absence crushing down on him. Isabella had never informed him, but had he given her reason to believe he would have cared? As his driver opened the car door, Marcus felt the distinct sensation that his carefully constructed life was about to change irrevocably. What he didn't expect was the silver-haired man waiting beside his vehicle, expression grave. "Harrison, what brings you here?" His CFO and oldest friend held up a folder. "There's something you need to know before you see Isabella Martinez. Something I should have told you 5 years ago." Sophia climbed into the car, unaware of the tension between the two men. "What are you talking about?" Marcus demanded. Harrison glanced at Sophia, then back to Marcus. "I knew about your daughter," he said quietly. "Isabella told me before she left, and I convinced her not to tell you." The interior of Marcus's Bentley felt suffocating as Harrison's confession hung in the air. Sophia had fallen asleep almost immediately, exhausted from her adventure, leaving the two men to speak in hushed, tense tones. "You had just closed the Meridian deal," Harrison explained, his normally confident voice subdued. "You told me yourself that nothing could interfere with the company's trajectory. When Isabella came to me, said she was pregnant," he trailed off, looking out the window at the passing New York streets. "So you took it upon yourself to handle the situation?" Marcus's voice was dangerously quiet. To decide what I should or shouldn't know about my own child? Harrison turned back, his expression hardening. You forget what you were like then, Marcus. The women, the 80-hour weeks. You made it abundantly clear that nothing would stand between you and building Sterling Financial. Nothing. The accusation stung because Marcus recognized its truth. He glanced at Sophia, her small chest rising and falling in peaceful sleep. Her face, his face, relaxed in innocent slumber. Isabella refused any money initially. Harrison continued. Said she'd rather struggle than explain to her child that their father had paid to keep them away. I finally convinced her to accept a settlement if she left the company quietly. Marcus's hands clenched into fists. You paid her off with company money? I paid her with my own, Harrison corrected sharply. And I've been helping them financially ever since, at least until Isabella found out about her illness and became too proud to accept more help. The revelation crashed over Marcus like ice water. Harrison, his right-hand man, his most trusted advisor, had been living a double life for years, supporting the child Marcus never knew existed. How long has Isabella been sick? He managed to ask. The cancer diagnosis came 10 months ago, stage 4 by the time they caught it. She's been fighting, but... Harrison's voice broke slightly. The treatments aren't working anymore. Marcus stared at his sleeping daughter. Trying to process that in the space of an hour, he discovered he was a father to a 5-year-old whose mother was dying. A mother he'd once known intimately but had forgotten easily when she disappeared from his life. Why did Sophia come find me today? Why now? Harrison handed him the folder he'd been holding. Isabella's most recent will and testament. She's named you as Sophia's guardian should anything happen to her. The car pulled up to Mount Sinai Medical Center, the imposing building looming above them like a harbinger. I never asked her if the child was mine, Marcus realized aloud, the weight of his indifference 5 years ago crushing him now. You didn't have to, Harrison replied. The timing made it impossible to be anyone else's, and look at her, Marcus. She's yours in every way. As if sensing they were discussing her, Sophia stirred and opened her eyes. Those familiar emerald eyes, his mother's eyes now inherited by his daughter. Are we going to see Mama now? She asked sleepily. Marcus nodded, not trusting himself to speak. As they walked toward the hospital entrance, Sophia once again took his hand, a gesture of trust he'd done nothing to earn. The story continues to unfold with Marcus discovering the depth of Isabella's illness, their heart-wrenching reunion, and his transformation from a ruthless businessman into a devoted father. Through Sophia's innocent wisdom and unwavering love, Marcus learns that true wealth isn't measured in bank accounts or corporate acquisitions, but in the precious moments shared with those we love. As Isabella's condition deteriorates, Marcus faces the ultimate test of his newfound priorities. Will he choose the merger that could make him the most powerful man on Wall Street? Or will he choose to be present for his daughter during the most difficult time of her young life? The answer comes when Sophia, wise beyond her years, asks him a simple question. Daddy, what's more important, having all the money in the world or having someone who loves you? In that moment, Marcus Sterling realizes that a 5-year-old girl with $100 in savings has taught him more about success than all his years in business school ever could. 1 year later, on Father's Day, Marcus and Sophia return to that same boardroom where their journey began. The sterile corporate environment has been transformed into something warmer, more human. Photos of Sophia adorn his desk, and the company culture has shifted to prioritize work-life balance, a change that has actually improved productivity and employee satisfaction. As they share a picnic on the boardroom floor, surrounded by colleagues who have become family, Sophia presents Marcus with a handmade card. Inside, in her careful first-grade handwriting, she's written, "Thank you for keeping your promise to Mama. You chose me." Marcus pulls his daughter close, understanding finally that the best investment he ever made wasn't in stocks or bonds or corporate acquisitions. It was in love, time, and the simple act of showing up for the person who mattered most. If this story of transformation and the power of unconditional love has moved you, please share it with someone who needs to remember that it's never too late to change your priorities. Subscribe to Echoes of Heart for more stories that celebrate the moments when love changes everything. And don't forget to leave a comment, sharing your own thoughts about what truly matters in life. Sometimes the most valuable things in life come in the smallest packages like a determined 5-year-old with $100 and a heart full of hope.